You had Drew rotating out there with you on your line today. If he does start on your line, what do you think he brings to that line?
Speed. I mean, he's fast, creates loose pucks. He takes the puck hard to the net and strong on battles. So, yeah, he definitely brings a lot of speed.
Does it feel like the power play's come along? It's step by step as each day passes.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a work in progress. I think that we still need to execute a little better, but regardless of if you're a unit that's played together for a while or a new unit, I mean, it usually takes time. I mean, I've been with units that have played together for years, and it still feels like a training camp. You still got to work through a lot, so I think that's just part of the process.
How important will it be to get off to a good start in the regular season?
Sorry?
How important will it be to get some wins early as the season is around the corner?
Yeah, I mean, you want to win, so I think that's why we're trying to prepare and execute well, but I think it's just about the process and improving, and things like power play, like you talked about, we can get that better and just get sharper in all areas. That's what we want.
Sid, Sully was talking about you yesterday, and he said, I've never met a guy more committed to the game than Sid, and he talked about how he'll be sitting at home and he'll get a text from you watching a Avs game and saying, hey, Avs just did some power play. Maybe that's something we should look at. I'm sort of curious. I mean, you've been doing this literally half your life at this level. What keeps that fire burning?
No, I love it. I think that you have to have a passion for it, and you have to love what you do, and I think that's a big part of it. So I don't think I watch hockey every single night, but when I do, it's kind of hard not to pick up on things or try to learn, and I think that you've got to continue to learn. Yeah, that's the biggest thing too. So that's probably part of it.
How do you think your game's evolved? I mean, not the youngest guy in the room anymore.
Yeah.
How do you compensate for whatever might happen physically?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that you always, regardless of being young or older, you always had to adjust and evolve depending on how the game's played, and kind of take what's given as far as opportunities and play. So I think trying to do your best physically to make sure you can play at the highest level and compete that way, and then try to learn and continue to adjust. That's something I try to do consistently.
You're playing a young guy next Tuesday who is, there's the next Sidney Crosby, just like McKinnon was the next Sidney Crosby, just like McDavid's the next Sidney Crosby. I'm sort of curious what it's like to hear, this has happened several times, like your name invoked for these 18-year-old kids that come into the league. I mean, is it weird? Is it weird to you? You're like, hey, I'm still here. I'm not I'm not retired. I'm not hanging out in the press box during games. I mean,
they're pretty good players, so I'll take it as a compliment. I think it's one of those things where I can relate to it. I had, as a young player, I had players that I was compared to, so I think I can relate to that. But like I said, they're pretty good players. They're pretty skilled. When I watch them, they're impressive. So if that's a comparison that they get, then I'll definitely take that.
What kind of season do you think Connor Bedard can put up with this his rookie year?
I have no idea. I'm not going to put any, a number or an expectation on it. I think he's a really good player. I think he's going to get really good opportunity there to be one of the guys, if not the guy, and especially early. I think that helps with your confidence and getting those opportunities. So he's been up for every challenge up to this point. I wouldn't expect it to be any different when he gets to the NHL. I think he'll have a great year.
So you also had the opportunity to sit down with him, kind of chat about his first game, and to have that opportunity to talk to a young guy about his first game and which it would be against you. Just how unique is that? That's not something that you normally would get to get. It's just a situation that it's the first game of the season. You get to sit down with him beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different when there's 10 people watching you and cameras, breaking it down. It's probably not the most natural conversations I've had in my life, but I've met him previous times before that. And, we talk hockey, and I think he's a guy that's more than ready at this point. He's been dealing with the expectations for a while now, and there's been a lot of pressure and things like that. So I think at this point he's just ready to finally start and get all that over with. And like I said earlier, you can relate to things like that, and you just try to give advice if needed, but I think he's got it figured out and he'll be fine.
Is there